Hello and welcome to today's lesson. So we have been working really hard by practicing solving equations. Now we're going to put this practice to use and we're going to solve some real life problems using our algebra solving skills. So here we go. So 7-1, we are going to be working with equations and it's going to have variables on both sides. All right, Andy's rental car charges an initial fee of $20 plus an additional $30 a day to rent the car. Buddy's rental charges an initial fee of $36 plus an additional day. For what number of days is the total cost charged by the companies the same? So we want to know when Andy is going to equal Buddy. All right, so Andy charges $20 plus an additional $30 per, there's that word per, $30 per day. So $30 per day. So X is going to stand for days that we're going to rent the car. All right, Buddy's rental car charges $36 a day, and then they charge an additional $28 per day. So for what number of days is the total cost charged the same? So you could just guess and check and put in a number 5 and see if they come out to be the same, or 10, or we could just use our algebra and solve for X. So I'm going to get my X's together. I have 28X on one side and a 30X on the other side. I'm going to move the smaller one, so I'm going to subtract 28X from both sides. I like to get my letters together first. So 20 plus 2X equals 36. All right, so now I have my X's together. Now I need to move that number 20 away from X, so I'm going to subtract 20 from both sides. So 2X equals 16. I'm kind of running out of room over there, so I'm just going to write this over on the side. 2X equals 16. So now how do I separate the 2 from the X? And I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So X is 8. And what that means is after 8 days, the cost is going to be the same. So one company is going to be cheaper for 7 days, and the other company will be cheaper for 9 days. But right at 8 days, they're going to cost the same. All right, so then this is them going through and explaining all of that, and that's exactly what we just got. All right, so now another problem. We have one water tank that holds 256 gallons, but it is leaking. So what does leaking imply, adding or subtracting? Leaking is going to imply that we are going to subtract because it is losing at a rate of 3 gallons per week. And then a second water tank. Okay, so we have a first water tank and a second water tank, and they want to know after how many weeks will the amount of water in the 2 tanks be the same? So this time my X is going to stand for weeks. All right, so the first water tank has 256 gallons in it right now, but it is leaking at 3 gallons per week. And we want to know when that is going to be same to the other one that has 384 gallons, but this one is leaking at 5 gallons per week. So they're starting with different amounts. They're losing water at different rates. When will they be the same? All right, I'm going to get my X's together first. Whoops, I can see for some reason, I wrote a W instead of an X, probably because I was thinking of weeks. But I should have the same letter here. So I'm going to add 5X. I like to add the smaller number because when we add that smaller number and you take a negative 3X plus 5X, we end up with a positive X value. And normally we like dealing with positive numbers over negatives. So now we're going to subtract 256 from both sides. So 2x is going to equal, so grab that calculator and make sure you're doing your math. So 384 minus 256, and I get 128. Now again, we have a 2, so I'm going to divide both sides by 2, and x is going to be equal. Now 6 goes into 2, goes into 12 6 times, and 2 goes into 8 4 times. So after 64 weeks, oh my, that's a long time. That's over a year. There's only 52 weeks in a year, and 64 weeks, these two tanks will have the same amount of water in them. All right, so this one is practicing writing a real world situation. So we have over here 150 plus 25x, and they're saying that that's going to equal 55x. They want you to make up a situation here. So I'm just going to make up a situation and say something like, I'm going to hire a plumber to come fix my toilet or my leaky faucet. So my plumber, the first plumber, charges $150 just for a house call to come check it out. Charges $150 for call, then $25 per hour for every hour that they need to work. Okay, the second company charges $55 per hour and no initial fee. So the second company charges $55 per hour. Alrighty. Okay, so then we might want to know, when will they cost the same? When will they cost the same? Now, the book made up a different problem. They said a handyman charges $150 plus $25 per hour. Well, that's exactly what we wrote in here. And then a second painter is just $55. After how many hours would it take for them to be the same? Okay, so two different situations here. All right, so this is kind of the same thing. So this one is charging $30 per hour for window cleaning, let's just call it. A second company charges takes longer to write it. A second charge $48 initial fee and $22 per hour. When are they the same? All right. So we are ready for our assignment. Good luck.